2 speedrunners have been competing for the world record in Resident Evil 9 and one just got it. But it's on the game's hardest difficulty, where one wrong move kills you instantly and both runners die at points of their run that neither saw coming. So today I'm going to be breaking down both of their runs side by side to show you every glitch, every strategy they use to break the game. To see how it all plays out, we need to go back to the beginning where Spicee is resetting a failed run. If you look at his split, it's labeled game sucks. Already off to a good start. If you watched this channel before, then you might recognize Spicee. He's a talented speedrunner with multiple world records under his belt, but every time he appears in a race on this channel, he gets unlucky and the win slips away. Now it's time to see if he can finally break that curse. It's not going to be easy though, because his opponent is Distortion2, one of the most well-known speedrunners on the internet. He's been breaking games for over a decade, and if anyone's going to give Spicee a run for his money, then it's definitely him. The run starts on the streets of Rinwood, a city built not far from the ruins of Raccoon City. Resident Evil 9 lets you toggle between first and third person, but speedrunners tend to stick with first person for the faster movement. Both runners start by grabbing an antique coin sitting on the street corner. On Insanity mode, 2 of these coins got moved from the care center to the tutorial, and these are going to come in handy later on. Grace explores the Rinwood Hotel, finds a picture of herself with a key and a message that says "Let's talk, room 204. Both runners use that key to get upstairs, grab the second antique coin and a pair of wire cutters. They cut through some wires to reach room 204, and a cutscene skip throws us into a flashback of a younger Grace and her mother escaping the same hotel 8 years ago.
Why intro? Because the YouTube commenters think that I'm bad at the game because I don't play the intro.
The flashback ends with a mother's death and Grace goes looking for whatever she hid in her final moments. They push a clothes rack aside and check behind the painting. Inside is a hidden folder with Alyssa's journal and a CD, but something's breaking downstairs. And Grace is clearly not alone. One cutscene later, an infected police officer tries to blast Grace with a shotgun. This is a minigame where you angle the camera left or right to dodge the shots while mashing a button to break free. Spicee clears it after a single one, but Distortion gets shot in the face. The policeman lunges at Grace and she stabs him through the eye with a poker. She throws it too early though, takes a bite, and barely escapes with the emergency exit key. Unfortunately for Grace, she runs right into Victor Gideon, the main villain of Resident Evil Requiem. At this point, the game switches over to Leon, and now things can start to get interesting. Victor has been infecting people with his virus to keep Leon busy, and the streets of Rinwood are full of chaos. Both runners line up a clean revolver shot at 2 zombies near a crash, and keep that in mind because those 2 kills are going to pay off in a big way very soon. A scripted zombie bites Leon in the shoulder, and after a body throw, Leon's operator Sherry points him toward the Road Hills Chronic Care Center, a place owned by Victor Gideon and likely where Grace is being taken. Spicee skips that cutscene, but not all cutscenes let you. We've all had to sit through an unskippable cutscene before, but what if you can make money while you waited? Introducing Free Cash. Free Cash is a free platform where you earn real money just by playing mobile games, completing surveys, and doing offers. You're pretty much completing a side quest, and they have over 5,000 to choose from. Whether you've got 30 seconds between attempts or 5 minutes during a cutscene, there's always something to do that's actually paying you. They've got a 4.7 star rating on Trustpilot, and the thing that got me is the fact that the cash out threshold is only $20. Most reward sites make you grind to 100 before they let you touch your money, but Free Cash lets you withdraw at just 20 through PayPal, Bitcoin, gift cards, and the payouts are instant. Here's what it looks like. You open the app, pick an offer. I went with Domino Dreams, and it walks you through exactly what you need to do to earn step by step. One thing to keep in mind when it asks you to enable app tracking, make sure you say yes. That's how Free Cash knows you completed the offer, so you actually get credited. And if you spend money in the app, Free Cash gives you direct cash back on those purchases plus higher earning multipliers, so you're getting paid back money that you were just gonna spend anyway. I've been using it for a couple weeks now, and it's one of those things where you don't realize how much money you've earned until you check your balance. It's not gonna replace your income or anything, but it is some nice extra cash for stuff you're already doing on your phone. Sign up with my link in the description or scan the QR code on screen. You get a $5 bonus when you start your first offer, and there's a built-in referral system, so sharing it with friends helps both of you earn more. I'll check back in later to show you what my balance looks like. Go ahead and give it a shot. Grace wakes up inside the care center. Both runners walk through the quiet hallways and pick up a cherub key, then use it to open a room where the lighter is waiting on a shelf. off. This section normally has a few run-ins with a massive monster called the Girl. She's a deformed creature you're supposed to run from while using room lights as safe spaces, but speedrunners don't have time for that. After the cutscene that spawns the Girl, both runners bait her into the doorway and walk right past instead of running. Grace is canonically scared out of her mind, but these guys just calmly wait under a shelf where a toolbox holds the screwdriver that they're looking for. The next part is where things get close. A metal car is scripted to come flying their way and they need to jump on it at the exact right moment. Stand too far away and the girl grabs you. Stand too close and the car itself hits you, which on insanity mode means death. Both runners nail the timing, hop on, and skip the chase entirely. They flick the lighter back on, grab a med injector on the way out, and use the screwdriver to pop open a fuse container in the next room. A cutscene shows Grace putting a fuse in the clinic's gate, and the girl catches up, but the game switches to Leon's perspective just in time. Leon arrives at the care center in his Porsche, and a nurse greets him like he's a celebrity. On the way in, both runners hit the weapon box, and this is where those 2 zombie kills from earlier start to pay off. Leon's kills count as credits at weapon boxes, and those 2 early ones gave him an extra 2,000 credits on top of his starting cash. That's enough to make a huge difference. Both runners sell their handgun and ammo for another 1,900 credits, then go on a shopping spree. They buy the exact same loadout, a 990 TAC semi-automatic shotgun for 7,000, a dot sight for quicker aiming, a ceramic coated barrel so it lasts longer, and a cute bear charm that's gonna boost mid-range firepower by 50%, while cutting close range damage by 20. The last charm is free since you can find it just by playing the game. They also equip the Power Shades charm on Leon's revolver, giving it bullet penetration and a damage boost for the last round in the barrel. Now that they're loaded up, a cutscene cuts to an infected doctor swinging a chainsaw at Leon. Both runners shoot the doctor, land an execution, then pop a zombie nurse with the Requiem before switching over to a shotgun to clear the infected patients dropping from the beds. Spicee picks up the chainsaw and drops it by the door, but accidentally walks on the spinning blade. On insanity mode, that's going to cost him a quarter of his health, which isn't ideal but also isn't fatal. Distortion doesn't make that mistake, and these small wins are going to start to add up. Both runners start clearing the zombie staff in the next room with their revolvers. Spiceys are super quick, landing a triple kill and a double one right after. Distortions take a little longer to line up, but he still drops the same number of zombies. He grabs the extra shotgun ammo from the crates, but he's not sure if it was worth the extra time.
I don't know if I should have went for that.
They chainsaw through a door and Leon walks into a courtyard where he and Grace cross paths. He rescues her from the girl before Victor shuts a gate between them, leaving Leon just enough time to slide Grace his revolver through the bars. Now Grace has a gun, and to escape the care center, both runners need to fit 3 quartz pieces into a fancy glass door. To find them, they have to go through the clinic, pick up keycards and wristbands, and survive everything in between. That's where things start getting dangerous. And this next section is where these runs start to look very different. Both runners walk over to a containment room where a little girl is being held and grab the west key card. From there, they head into the west wing where they turn a corner and find a huge infected cook. They squeeze past it while it's turning and grab another antique coin from the table. They push into the dining hall where the guests are tearing each other apart. Inside, they pick up an empty bottle and a transfusion bag before dealing with 2 tricky zombies in the hallways ahead. Normally, speedrunners can slip past the first zombie easily because it takes a second to react, but a detour for those items earlier closes that window. Instead, they bait the zombie to lunge and walk past while it's recovering. The second zombie can't see or hear Grace if she crouches down, so they're able to sneak past without any problems. Spicee gets grabbed by a zombie in the hallways though, and it takes half of Grace's health. Not terrible, but that grab is going to cost him. They grab the unicorn trinket box and solve its simple puzzle to get the red jewel inside. Next is a safe that they already know the code to, and the moon quartz pops out. That's 1 out of 3, and the runs are moving at a solid pace so far. The red jewel goes in a door and it opens up a game room. The display inside is holding a pouch and it costs all 3 antique coins. That pouch is going to give Grace more room in her bag, which is important later when inventory space gets tight. From there, it's back to the courtyard with the east key card from a zombie victim's arm. Spicee and Distortion open up the east wing and flip the lights on to confuse some nearby zombies. They pick up the blood collector and a dentured blood specimen, then run the sample through a microscope. That unlocks crafting for hemolytic injectors, which is the only healing items that matter for this speedrun. Between map loot and the weapon box refills, there's always enough handgun ammo to go around. They open a locker for some scrap and an empty bottle, then line up a Requiem shot that takes out 3 zombies at once. That shot is actually down the luck because the zombies can decide to just not line up and jump you instead. instead. They pick up an ID wristband from a zombie on the floor, and right on cue, a massive hippo-like creature named Chunk crashes into the room. This thing is the big threat that patrols this area, kind of like the girl from the previous section. They heal up Grace and wait for Chunk to move enough to squeeze past, aiming the camera down as they do. This is going to keep Chunk from pushing them out of the way. In the office, they grab some handgun ammo, a green herb, and a corrosive bottle. They dodge the zombies and wait for Chunk to walk past again, because this next part requires some pretty precise timing. You gotta stand just far enough from the doorway, wait for his charge attack, then run to the right at the exact moment. If you mistime it, then you'll die. They nail it, find the safe, and the corrosive bottle melts the lock. The sun quartz is inside, and now they just have one more to go. At this point, Distortion is 4 seconds ahead of Spicee, mainly because of that zombie grab in the west wing. But in the care center, a lot can go wrong, and one bad decision can erase that lead in a heartbeat. This is where Spicee does something that Distortion doesn't. Chunk is blocking the staircase, so Spicee's gonna chuck an empty bottle to grab its attention and bait it into lunging at a wall. Now his path is clear. After that, he does something smart. He throws another empty bottle at the doorway he just came through, and as long as Grace stays crouched and quiet, the next infected patient will walk over to that spot. This zombie is nicknamed the blind zombie, and for good reason. It swings its IV stand around with enough force to deal huge damage to anything nearby, and that includes Chunk. The blind zombie takes out the mini-boss for good without lifting a finger. Remember that, because having Chunk dead is going to be huge when they have to carry a child through this area later on. While that's playing out, Spicee grabs a B934 handgun and lockpicks a cupboard for some rare metal. Rare metal is necessary to craft rounds for the Requiem, so every piece counts. He also crafts a hemolytic injector and turns the corner to the butcher from earlier. One quick stab and the zombie explodes. Injecting works like a stealth attack, only possible when they can't see you or if you get to them fast enough. Both runners use the ID wristband to push deeper into the compound, and the last quartz is still out there. Getting it is going to take some serious work. Spicee and Distortion come across a refrigerated organ transport box and punch in the code that they already know. Out comes a pair of artificial lungs, and picking them up starts a fight with a zombie driving an excavator. They shoot out the cabin window to take out the pilot, then put a few more rounds in the engine to stop the machine before it kills them. Grace's voice lines are still catching up to what just happened, which is always funny to see. They grab a wrench sitting on an office table, then head into the lab for the converged blood specimen. Running the sample through the analyzer unlocks crafting for Requiem ammo, which is the only ammo that's important. They shoot the ground at the bottom of a stairwell to scare a zombie before heading down. Grace struggles with a rusty wheel on a metal door, which snaps off, and that's where the wrench comes in. Like a lot of items in this run, it was grabbed early because they knew this moment was coming. Behind the door is an artificial heart and an 80 milliliter transfusion bag. They chuck an empty bottle at a zombie singer to stun it, then lockpick a cupboard for more rare metal before putting the 2 quartz pieces in the door. One piece left, and Grace can finally escape the care center. They backtrack to a room with a medical table and a corpse laying on it. Here's where it gets interesting. They need to put the artificial lungs and heart into the body's open chest. While they're doing that, a zombie is coming from the left. Spicee and Distortion both line themselves up perfectly so that when the patient wakes up, their bullet goes through both the patient's head and the approaching zombie. 2 birds, 1 stone. From the body, they loot the ID wristband level 2. There's a journal in an office with 4 symbols. They contain a code for the nearby safe, but the symbols are in Braille and Grace can't read it. She knows someone who can though, so they grab the ID wristband level 3, swipe some scrap on the way out, and finally get to Emily, the little girl from the containment room. After rescuing Emily, Spicee and Distortion both need to carry her through zombie-infested hallways to the safe office. This is where their blind zombie trick from earlier starts to pay off. Distortion picks up Emily and heads for the doorway. An infected is standing right in front of it.
I don't know what to do. Is he gonna turn around?
The zombie doesn't move. Even worse, the blind zombie from earlier is closing in from the other side, trapping him from both directions. Distortion has no choice but to push through, and the zombie latches onto Grace and bites her in the back. Luckily, it can't kill her from behind, but it drops Grace down to 1 HP, and the long grab animation costs him 12 seconds.
I've never had that guy standing there. I lost a lot of time there because I hesitated. I don't know.
He heals up with a green herb and puts Grace down in the safe office. That one moment wiped out his 4-second lead, and now he's in second place. Between this and some earlier mistakes, Distortion is now 12 seconds behind Spicee. Spicee's escort quest went completely different. He carried Emily to the safe office without a problem and stepped out to fight some nearby zombies. At this point, Spicee has a real lead for the first time in this entire race, but the care center isn't done with him yet. A cutscene plays with Grace getting Emily and then quickly cuts to a get Emily back objective as she gets kidnapped. They have the third quartz piece now thanks to the kid unlocking the safe earlier, but they still need to survive the basement section up ahead. On Insanity, the girl appears more often down here and she hits even harder. Grace is in the underground part of the care center searching for Emily. The basement is a maze of cells, pipes, and locked gates, and they're gonna need to find 3 joint plugs to unlock the cells where she's being held. They inject the sleeping zombie with a hemolytic injector to kill it quietly, then work through the cells to find the first joint plug. The girl finds Grace again, but they ignore her and go left, calmly staying ahead of the monster. The first joint plug goes in to open a gate, and through a hole in the fence they find a square socket wrench. For the second plug, things get creative. They shoot the girl to grab her attention while she's eating a corpse, then quickly refill Grace's blood collector on a nearby zombie. In Insanity mode, it takes 2 full Requiem shots to stun the girl, so every run-in with her is risky. While she's headed to them, they loop around to the other side of the central block and slip through the fence hole again to grab the joint plug. The girl drops from the ceiling at the end of the hallway and they barely avoid the grab. They both pick up an ink ribbon, save the game, and reload right away. This is intentional because reloading causes the door in front of them to open right away instead of waiting 5 seconds. In a 2-hour run, these small tricks tend to add up fast. They stab an infected corpse with another injector and run before it explodes and brings more zombies. They use the same trick on another zombie blocking a control panel and the second plug is out. Both runners backtrap to grab the joint plug, then use the square socket wrench to pop open a panel where they stick both plugs in. From there, it's through a bunch of pipes to the forklift key. The girl is catching up in the background, but they're already a step ahead. They pull both joint plugs out because they're gonna need them again, and the segment coming up next is one of the riskiest in the entire basement. That save and reload from earlier supposedly made the girl forget about them, which means that she should roar the next time they meet in the doorway instead of going straight for the kill. Without that save, then Grace will be dead on the spot. They chuck a bottle at the girl while she's lurking in the shadows to pull her attention away, then grab the knife she's guarding. Now comes the moment of truth, and as they stick the forklift key in the panel right next to her, just as expected, she roars instead of attacking, and they get away clean. The next room is full of hanging corpses on a moving rail, and this is where their runs start to look different. Spicee walks ahead of one of them, but the game teleports him in front of it, and he gets caught anyway.
What? I have never seen this before.
Distortion makes it through without a scratch and grabs a green herb to heal up before filling up his blood collector. He knows what's coming up next. The floor starts to move and the whole thing is a massive tray dragging the corpses straight into the blades. To make things worse, the corpses on the ground start waking up and attacking. They shoot their legs to slow them down so the grinders can do the work and even start pre-firing at the ones on the ground that they know are gonna wake up. Spicee and Distortion alternate between headshots and shoves, doing their best not to get overwhelmed by what is easily the most tense combat section of the run so far. They throw the cocktail down since it'll kill zombies way faster than their gun can, and once the grinding's done, they climb back up the ladder and grab the final joint plug. Grace slips down a series of pipes draining blood deeper into the building until she falls into a massive pool of it. On the way back up, they throw an empty bottle at a zombie waiting in ambush around a corner and grab the joint plug they used earlier. The other plug is guarded by a zombie they'll need to shoot twice to lock it up. Distortion pulls his out clean, but Spicee's zombie recovers faster than he expected and Grace takes a nasty hit for it. The worst part is he almost had the plug free when he got caught, and doing it all over again cost him about 10 seconds. They stick all 3 joint plugs in the control panel and unlock the cells to get Emily back.
Unlucky, there goes all my time save.
Grace does her best to comfort the kid while running from all the infected that got released alongside her. The girl shows up just as she's struggling to pull a plank out of the elevator gates, and they barely make it through. Getting out with Emily earns Grace the star quartz, and both runners put that last piece in the door, giving Grace a taste of fresh air for the first time in a while. There's a helicopter waiting outside the care center gardens, but they'll need the key to fly it first. They find a double helix model hidden inside of a fake wine bottle, a fun nod to Resident Evil 8's Dimitrescu castle, and use it to make the whole room drop like a giant elevator. Down below is what looks like a massive lab holding humanoid bodies, and the helicopter key is sitting on a desk in the command room. Another cutscene skip later and the whole place is falling apart. The scripted zombie grab on the floor doesn't phase either runner, and they switch Grace to third person since her sprint is way faster in this section. On top of that, the way she stumbles through doorways actually makes her dodge zombie lunges and helps out on staircases flooded with blood. Distortion runs into a known issue where Grace randomly stops after going through a doorway, losing him a couple of seconds.
It's so jank when you try to go through that little passway. Like, she just stops.
He switches back to first person and grabs a green herb to heal before the helicopter sequence plays. Spicee doesn't hit this issue and makes it through pretty easily. They both reach the helicopter with a key, but since this is a Resident Evil game, a swarm of zombies have something to say about it. The pilot is officially dead and Grace and Emily are on their own. The game switches to Leon and both runners hit the weapon box to cash in 27,000 credits. They grab 6 rifle ammo, 6 shotgun shells, a Marksman 1A semi-automatic rifle with a scope and a reinforced bolt, and the BCAA emblem charm, which boosts firepower when the scope isn't on. Next is the sniping section where Leon covers Grace from a building while she looks for safety below, and this is where their luck trades places. Distortion section goes smoothly, and he clears every wave without a problem, but Spicee makes a mistake and assumes one of the zombies is dead when it actually isn't. It attacks Grace and delays the next wave from coming in, costing him several seconds.
I'm actually losing an absurd amount of time here.
Then, when he rushes inside the building, the game still isn't done with him. A zombie that's usually asleep decides to wake up and grab him instead.
Oh nice, the RNG grabber that's just asleep half the time, but I guess this time he's not asleep.
Distortion is lucky enough to not have to deal with either of those problems, but the Blisterborn fight in the burning room changes everything. He chucks a grenade, but it blows up a nearby container off screen while he's executing a zombie. When he goes to shoot it to stun the mini-boss, it's already gone, so he has to burn yet another grenade and wait 5 or 6 seconds for the kill. Then his execution somehow doesn't finish off a blister head, wasting even more time on the proper finisher. To top it off, another one grabs him out of nowhere, probably a dead zombie respawning as a blister head, which is a lot more common in Insanity mode.
All because one of my grenades got blocked by the guy's legs somehow. Honestly, it probably would have been faster to redo the entire room.
Spicee's fight goes much cleaner by comparison. They drop Emily off somewhere safe and pick up a med injector alongside 5 Requiem rounds. The girl finds Grace while they're grabbing more ammo and takes half her HP in a single hit. Next is the crank lever, and the goal is simple. Restore 3 power units to open the roof hatch since she's weak to sunlight. The lights stun the girl when they come back on, so they walk right up to her and follow her as she runs away. It isn't far to the 3rd panel, but of course the lever is stuck. She drops from the ceiling and 2 Requiem shots buy enough time to finish the QuickTime event. They walk right past her one more time, take an elevator up, open the roof hatch, and that's the end of the girl. A cutscene skip shows Emily turned into an infected monster and Leon puts her down without thinking twice. Grace is pleading for him to stop, but both runners have somewhere to be. It's time to head over to Raccoon City. Out in the ruins of Raccoon City, Spicee and Distortion hit the weapon box and cash in 25,000 credits. They pick up 6 rifle ammo, 6 shotgun shells, a Gauss submachine gun, a ceramic coated barrel level 2, and a high capacity mag for the Marksman 1A. Leon explores the dusty ruins and a wall explodes as a massive spider lunges through it. They put 3 shotgun blasts in its face before the spider throws him through a wall and they head upstairs. They skip the spiderlings on the upper levels and go straight to the main room where the rest of the fight plays out. They throw a fire barrel at the spider to stun it, then shoot its weak spots while it's down. Luckily, the damage from the chase carries over, so they can finish it off as it tries to run away. Back in the streets, Leon finds another weapon box, and this is where Spicee and Distortion make different calls. Spicee buys the carbon tube extension to increase his shotgun's ammo capacity, but Distortion skips it entirely and only grabs an ammo refill. He questions his choice right away.
Honestly, I feel like you should just upgrade ammo capacity on the shotgun here. I think I should have.
That decision is going to cost him. They step into a warehouse full of zombies, some of which are packing guns. 2 gunners are usually up top, and the second one is a real problem, but by running close to the boxes, they keep it from showing up, which clears the way. A crate dropped ahead of time lets them cross without trouble, and they snag an apartment's key. Up on the rooftops, they find the first of 3 detonator parts in a reinforced suitcase. Leon needs all 3 to blow open the gate, blocking his way to Raccoon City Center. They sharpen their axe and shoot down a metal crate for a hand grenade, then reload the autosave to reset the zombies chasing them before dropping into the valve section. The hand wheel can be found nearby, but what comes next is anything but easy. They need to hold a QuickTime event with the wheel while a mini-boss squeezes through the gate, and just one hit here can end the run. The strategy here is to look up while turning the wheel, which somehow confuses the mini-boss and zombies into leaving them alone. Distortion pulls it off, and the enemies let him through unscathed. Spicee isn't as lucky though. The Blisterborn hits him for half of Leon's HP, then swings again and kills him on the spot. He goes from full health to dead in just a matter of seconds.
His second swing never hits me. I don't know why his second swing hit me.
He restarts from the autosave and tries again. This time the mini boss doesn't connect, but zombies are still blocking his path. He tries the beta grab, but ends up taking a regular hit instead. He finishes the sequence, but gets hit the second he turns around. Leon just so happens to be in one of the animations where he can only drop to 1 HP, and Spicee heals up to full immediately. From here, the section plays out the same. They pick up the first battery after the valve ladder, then walk through the water where Distortion gets grabbed, costing him about 5 seconds. A couple zombies go down, and they get the second battery before healing off the damage. They insert both batteries and the fence comes alive, so they head outside where a cutscene awards Leon with the BCAA key. They shoot down a ladder and collect a hand grenade and a gas can before the chainsaw arena starts. A chainsaw zombie breaks through a door and then a horde fight starts. Every shot lands, and once the mini boss spawns in, they stun lock it with shotgun shells at mid-range where the cute bear charm can put in work. Once the arena is clear, Leon fills the gas can at a nearby container and uses it to open the gate. Distortion, on the other hand, takes a quick detour into a van for a med injector to make up for the grab he took earlier. Then they both drop past a military zombie to collect the rusty crank. The game autosaves here, so they reload it to reset enemy aggression and then walk back to the balcony unbothered. Both runners heal up and head to the rooftops where Leon walks into a war zone. Zombie soldiers and explosions are everywhere, and getting stunned for even a second is a death sentence. This entire stretch is down to RNG. They take a hit from a zombie, which they heal off. Then, Distortion gets killed by back-to-back mortar rounds. Spicee gets hit by one too, but somehow manages to survive. Distortion goes early on the mortar cycle for his next attempt and takes another hit. He uses a med injector to reach the platform with a broken detonator receiver, then restarts from an autosave. When he loads in, he ends up waiting for a few seconds to line up the timing perfectly, which ends up being the right call since he would have died otherwise. With 2 out of 3 parts in hand, they drop back down to loot a resource cache where they craft a mixed herb and a bunch of ammo. They use the BCAA key from earlier to open a metal crate and find a repair kit inside to fix the broken receiver. This is where Distortion's decision to skip the shotgun upgrade comes back to haunt him. He's forced to stop at the weapon box and buy the ammo capacity upgrade he's been missing. If you recall, Spicee already took that back at the spider fight.
Cooked. Because I didn't fucking refill the ammo before.
After one more stop, they take a zipline across. Leon tiptoes over to a broken pillar and dodges some sliding crates. From there, he crosses a sideways building where the glass windows are the floor, and they open the reinforced suitcase at the end to collect the detonator relay along with a common tracking module and 2 hand grenades. Leon finally puts all 3 parts together and the detonator is ready. Now Spicee and Distortion have to get down to the Grimstone building to place it at the gate. A sequence plays where Leon defends the elevator against a horde of zombies, and the only way to survive is standing in a corner and looking straight up since it confuses them into leaving him alone. The real threat is the blister head that drops him part way through, and one headshot is all it takes to put him down. Spicee gets clipped but handles blister head with no problem. Distortion has a closer call because he didn't notice it drop in. A zombie grab turns his camera and alerts him to the enemy.
You know, I was wondering if the blister head dropped down. That's okay. That was close.
They both run over to the gate, place the detonator down, and escape East Raccoon City. Leon hops on a motorcycle, and his freedom lasts about 5 seconds before Victor Gideon shows up to ruin it. Using the submachine gun they bought earlier, they take out the first wave, but more keep coming. The chase goes from the streets to the rooftops and then indoors, where Gideon pulls up on his own bike and starts firing rockets. They shoot him every time the red indicator pops up to avoid getting blown off the road. It all comes down to Leon and Gideon charging straight at each other, and both runners win on their first try. The motorcycle section might be done, but up next is one of the most infamous enemies in Resident Evil history. Both runners arrive at what's left of the Raccoon City Police Department. They shoot down a ladder, sharpen the axe, and grab a mechanic jack before a cutscene kicks off the Orphanage flashback. The game switches over to a girl who looks like Emily but is actually Chloe, a clone from the same batch as Emily and Marie, aka the girl. Chloe watches in horror as the other children turn into monsters and kill a doctor right in front of her. She runs and hides under a bed while they stalk the hallways. This whole section is a stealth game where Chloe has to sneak past regenerating demon kids, and neither runner is too thrilled about it. The trickiest part is 2 of them blocking a hallway, and the fix is walking back to the main room and returning, which makes them disappear. Even Spicee isn't sure if it's a bug or a feature. They grab the hatch key, and then a fire truck toy lights up on its own, rolls down a staircase, and leads them to an underground chapel. They pull a lever behind 2 doors to open up a coffin area, and they know exactly which ones to stack already, so Emily can climb past the fence and grab the poker in the supplies room. All the demon kids ambush her on the way out, but she uses it to bring down a ladder and escape into an umbrella lab upstairs. A projector in the conference room shows pictures of a baby and eventually Chloe herself before the flashback ends. Now it's back to Leon, who tries to rescue Grace but gets ambushed by Mr. X. The tyrant is tearing through the building, so they wait against the wall for him to finish and slip through the hole he just made. After leaving the RPD, both runners decide to hit the weapon box in order to gear up. Spicee crafts 6 shotgun shells and 4 stacked hand grenades. Then he cashes in 61,000 credits for a mag and reinforced bolt on his marksman rifle. Distortion uses 35,000 and picks up the same loadout. When the fight starts, they bait Mr. X's charge into the back of the arena where the impact pushes 2 cars together. Afterwards, they stand behind them since the cars actually block the monster from reaching Leon. Mr. X jumps onto a nearby car for his big attack and Distortion puts rounds in him, but he doesn't go down. Instead, he just falls off and starts swinging, so Distortion keeps firing, hoping for a stagger that never actually comes. As a result, Mr. X catches him and executes Leon.
Dude, what the man, why is he not staggered? I shot him in the fucking chest like so much. I'm pretty sure he was like fucking 1 hit away from death.
He restarts and the second attempt isn't much better. Distortion parries 2 attacks but eats a thrust that nearly kills Leon again. Then Mr. X starts jumping around the arena and attacking random cars while Distortion waits for something he can punish. He is getting extremely unlucky here. He finally gets the kill, but there's a specific pattern that makes this fight free and he never got it. Without that pattern, Mr. X breaks the axe in 2 hits and holding the safe range is almost impossible. For once, Spicee's luck has actually turned around. He shoots Mr. X during the car jump and manages to score a knockdown. When the tyrant gets back up, he's stuck behind the 2 cars and Spicee can safely attack him until he eventually goes down. This is one of the easiest Mr. X kills you'll ever see, and his chat goes insane. As Leon crosses the ruins of a subway train, a giant mutated plant attacks him out of nowhere. Spicee shoots it in the mouth and it retreats, pulling the train down with it. Distortion fires a rifle shot and it hits the same spot, but it doesn't go down in 1 hit like he's used to. He has to parry and shoot again before it finally backs off.
I don't know, I've killed it in 1 shot with the rifle, but not sure how. Maybe I crit it?
Their approach to the plant section couldn't have been more different. Distortion parries the first swing and rushes past the rest without taking a single hit, which is really impressive since the plants can easily decide to punish a runner for getting too close. Spicee, on the other hand, charges straight in, tanks 2 hits, and burns a med injector in the process. Meanwhile, Distortion struggles with a zombie soldier, missing most of his headshots and ends up getting hit by the zombie. Eventually, he kills it and reloads the autosave. They shoot the vines blocking the path and Plant 43 shows up for the real fight. The first half is almost too easy since the plant just stands there eating shots while they dodge the occasional headbutt. After enough damage though, it protects its head and sends out 2 larger vines, but both runners find spots where the attacks can't reach and keep firing until the plant staggers. A box of canisters is eventually exposed and 1 shot turns the plant into ashes. At this point, Distortion is almost out of heals, but he's not worried at all.
That's okay, we're still on PB pace. Sub 2 pace as well, I think.
With Plant 43 gone, Leon finds himself at the entrance to Umbrella's ARC facility. Spicee and Distortion walk through a server room and flick their cameras to the left to grab a rare tracking module worth 4,500 credits. Then a fight with Umbrella's guards starts. They throw a grenade right as the door opens to kill the first 3 before tossing another at a soldier hiding behind some cover. From the catwalk above, they snipe some reinforcements before they can even drop in. Spicee's shots are so fast that the guards die with a delay since their spawn animations need to finish before the death animations can play. He's basically killing them before the game even knows that they're there. Both runners hit the weapon box 1 more time. Spicee pulls in 37,300 credits and buys a case upgrade, the fortified blade for his axe, and a body armor for 20,000 credits that he's hoping will pay for itself later. Distortion decides to upgrade his fortified blade twice. The commander fight is up next, and this fight is almost certainly a cameo from Hunk, the playable character from RE2. He's known for grabbing the player, but neither runner is planning to fight fair. The strategy is to reload the autosave and switch Leon to 3rd person, then reload again. This messes with how the game handles awareness and leaves the commander blind to Leon for about 1/4 of a second. Meleeing while running in 3rd person makes Leon dash forward, so if the time lines up perfectly, they can land a stealth takedown and skip the fight entirely. Getting the timing right is a different story though, and Spicee ends up having a hard time.
When are we gonna realize that this probably shouldn't be in the game?
Distortion runs into the same problem. His first 2 attempts get reset, and when the third one lands a crit, it only drops the commander down to 1700 HP instead of leaving him at 1 hit. He explains to his chat why he doesn't just finish the fight, and it's because the commander does a 20-second cinematic and then has to be parried twice, which ends up in a 30-second time loss.
Oh my god, this game is fucking so stupid, dude.
It takes about 4 more resets before the glitch finally works for Distortion, and Spicee needs about the same number before his opening shows up. The whole fight takes under 10 seconds after almost 2 minutes of retries.
So f***ing obnoxious.
Both runners pick up the Mortal Edge from the commander's body, and this is a unique hatchet with a massive parry window, and you'll see exactly how they're planning to use it in the final boss fight. A cutscene brings them to the central chamber, and the game switches over to Grace for the infamous lab sequence where they need to find 2 orbs. The first part is quiet until a licker shows up. These things are fast and powerful, but also blind. Sneaking past them means going slow, but this is a speedrun after all. So they shoot the wall to pull the first licker's attention, and then time their run after the second one lunges past. From there, they grab the override key along with 2 bottles of acid and a makeshift knife. They stick the key in a console to turn the lights back on, and a magnetic key comes off a wall nearby. Another licker is waiting around the corner, and this is where their runs start to differ. Spicee baits a lunge and slips by while it recovers, but Distortion throws a bottle of acid for the kill. They both shoot zombies in the knees, and then use empty bottles to stun the ones in the way, eventually pushing through to the safe where the Animus orb is. The second orb is all the way on the other side of the lab in one of the heaviest RNG sections of the run. Grace has almost no combat ability, so getting through a room full of zombies and lickers requires a lot of luck. Distortion gets lucky with a zombie that grabs him and drops Grace down to half HP, but he uses the grace period after a grab to walk right through as he heals up. They finally grab the Noblesse orb and then make their way back. The return trip is a lot safer thanks to a catwalk that skips most of the enemies, but 2 more lickers decide to crash the party. Both runners make it past safely and put both orbs in the door to reach the control room. Now it's Leon's turn. The labs feel a lot safer with the shotgun, but it's still full of lickers.
How we feeling, lickers? How we feeling?
Spicee has been really eager to show off this section since he found some time saves. He throws a bottle at the wall to distract the lickers and pushes an elevator button in the opening before taking a hit. He tanks 1 more and then squeezes past since the others don't attack at once. He turns into a doorway and lines up 2 shots that drop 3 lickers simultaneously, then presses another button and picks up a green herb along the way. For his trouble, he's also rewarded with an override key and a grenade along with a med injector.
It was pretty fucking slow, unfortunately.
That's when the lickers lock in. Another group drops from the ceiling, and while he's healing off the first hit, they pile him and 2-shot Leon. Fortunately, the autosave was close though, only costing him about 30 seconds. His second try goes much smoother, waiting for the lickers to gather around a canister before blowing it up and finishing the rest. Distortion's Leon section has its own disaster. He turns around to line up a Requiem shot, but it goes right through them and Leon gets his throat slit open.
I'm dead. My shot went through him.
The second attempt is much more successful, and he's able to take him down. A grenade blasts another one near the console, and he squeezes past the group with a parry in order to reach the second. In the combat room, canisters take care of most of the lickers, but the last one manages to grab Leon. He riposts mid-grab and survives, but the long animation burns a lot of time. Both runners line up headshots on zombies as they climb out of their tanks before Leon steps into the elevator. He's looking pretty rough as he barely drags himself through the Elpis chamber. Grace runs over to help Leon, and they enter the code HOPE to release Elpis as the system collapses around them. Now that he's fully healed, Distortion takes on the final boss of the game. Distortion's fight starts off strong. He parries Victor's tentacle swings and lands multiple shots on his head, but Victor responds with a kick to the face and follows it with an uppercut. He reloads his save and goes in for another attempt. When his axe breaks, he opens his inventory and switches over to the Mortal Edge I mentioned earlier. Because of this weapon's unique properties, he can wait for Victor's kick, since parrying it gives a longer window for him to keep shooting. After Victor enters his second phase, Distortion sharpens his axe and shoots him while avoiding his electricity. As the boss goes for his rocket launcher, Distortion makes him drop it, and 1 more shot at his feet ends the first fight. Nemesis is up next. He throws his grenade and gets a stagger right away. Using the submachine gun, he shoots the cysts on his body, and some solid parries buy enough time for a grenade. One more cycle later, the final cinematic plays and Distortion kills the final boss in just 1 hour, 58 minutes, and 53 seconds. An incredible time.
Well, not bad considering all the mistakes we made.
At the time of this run, this was the world record for this category, and doing all of this in under 2 hours is, for lack of a better word, absolutely insane. Can Spicee beat that? Going into his final fight, Spicee has the faster time, and as long as he doesn't get unlucky, then this should be the world record, but this is insanity mode.
He's being cringe. He's not gonna pull out the rocket launcher. This. Thanks, buddy. GG's! Dude, I lost so much time, man. Oh, this run sucks. This run's so bad.
With 1 hour, 55 minutes, and 31 seconds on the timer, Spicee has beaten Distortion's time, and as of the time of this run, the world record belongs to him, but these runs were from 2 weeks ago, and the record has been lowered even further since. So if you want to see these guys break records live, then go ahead and check out their channels. The links to both of them are in the description below, and don't forget to subscribe because YouTube doesn't always recommend.
Bye-bye.